Hi, it's Scola and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a little bit different from what I usually do, but I'm really excited to start doing more videos like this, so let's get right into it. Right, so today's video was actually inspired by a video from Lucy Moon, who's one of my favorite creators. She's amazing. I'll leave a link to her video down below, but she basically made a video about what it's been like being self-employed and working for herself. So I watched that and I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that I've actually always been self-employed and I've always worked for myself. And so I want to share my career path story and what I've done in my life, and also kind of share some tips, because I do know my sort of career path is not unique, but it is a little bit different from the average. It's not really what you're told to do when you leave school and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm quite excited to share my story because I really want to do more videos like this talking about career and finance. I've always wanted my channel to be about living a healthy, happy, sort of holistic life and just being your best self. So I really am so excited that as I've gotten older, I can introduce other aspects that I've started experiencing. Basically, I've been self-employed since I was 16 and I want to run through how I have done that. And actually, this is something quite useful because I love watching other people's stories, because it really does give you insight into different ways you can get into different things. And hopefully maybe there's something in the story that might give you an idea for your own career, or just might inspire you or motivate you to try something different. I was a bit nervous to talk about this because as a woman, and especially as a Black woman, it's very rare that you shout about your achievements and your successes. You're often told to be humble and be quiet and small. And I really want to stop that. I really want to, shout about my achievements and my successes. Even when really cool things are going on, whether it's something to do with a YouTube campaign or a brand thing that I'm involved with, I'll talk about it a little bit, but I won't yell about it like I see other people doing, because I just feel really oh, I don't want to seem like I'm boasting or anything like that. But it's not about that. It's being excited, sharing successes, sharing opportunities, and just showing what is possible. And I definitely want to do more of that and hopefully inspire and motivate people, especially Black women, because I just feel like we don't often have that, we don't often get that. So right, I have been rambling long enough. Honestly, I'm so sorry. I just knew I'd be like this with this video because I'm so excited about this. I love self-improvement and that kind of, I'm sorry, I'm rambling more and more. Anyway, let's start from the beginning. Also, I'm really sorry if my glasses are really distracting because you can see the reflection of the lights. I've been neglecting wearing my glasses so much and I'm trying to wear them more and more, especially when I have lights like this. I really do need glasses, but I just don't usually, so sorry about it. So I'm gonna break this up into different categories of ages and stuff like that throughout my life, and it'll make it easier to explain each section. So the first section I'm gonna be talking about is honing in my skill, and that is ages, I would say about 10 to 14. I would say 10 to 14 were the years of me honing in a skill that I didn't know would be super valuable. Now, can you guys guess what that skill is? Okay, yeah, it is video making. I started video making when I was around 9, but I seriously started getting into it when I was around 10, and I started getting into editing and that kind of stuff. That's when I started making videos. They weren't anything too fancy. It was literally just funny videos with my friends.
Hey, so I just got home and I just want to tell a little story. A few stories actually. Hey, it's Scola. Hey, it's Scola.
If you're the bird.
And I just started getting into social media, and little did I know this would end up being able to build my career later on. So I know this is actually really hard for most people to do, to find a skill that they like from such a young age and implement it. You can really do this at any age, to be honest with you, but I started when I was around 10ish and I really focused on this skill. And I'm sure you guys have lots of skills that you don't realize could end up being a career or even a side hustle kind of thing, but that's what I started doing and ended up being quite a cool thing to do. But at the time I got very much bullied for liking to make videos and putting them on the internet, but I persevered and luckily I did. I was organized and I did make note of each section because I knew I'd forget. I am not great at remembering these things. Okay, so the next section is 15 to 18, the part-time job. So I'm sure you guys probably assume that my first way of making money was from YouTube, but actually wasn't. This wasn't the first way that I started being a freelancer or self-employed. I actually started in a very traditional way almost. And basically I'd been making videos for quite a while, for quite a few years, and around the age of 15, 16, my school started noticing that I had this skill, because whenever I did any school projects or anything like that, I'd make sure I'd made a video for it because I knew it was like a strength of mine and I knew I'd get a good grade for it. But little did I know that my school was also paying attention to this from like another point of view, because they asked me to actually make videos for them. So they asked me to make videos for like assemblies and other important events they had going on for the school. And obviously for them it looked really good, because it was like, we have a student that can make these videos and look at the talent that we can sort of nurture in our school, sort of thing. So that was great for them, because I think my school was like kind of like a tech college, but like not really, but it was like a high school, secondary school type situation. So they actually ended up paying me for that, because obviously it was labour, and also I was doing my GCSEs at the same time, which is like a really big like exam time type of thing. It's like SATs, I guess. So they were like, right, we'll pay you if you do these videos. I was like, okay. I was like, thank you. It's actually just so funny how things work out, because around the same time a lot of my friends had started getting part-time jobs, because we're just going from 15 to 16, so you can start getting little jobs here and there. So a lot of my friends got a job at this catering company. Like pretty much all my friends who applied got a job at this catering company, and I applied but I didn't get the job. And I was like, why did I not get the job? Like literally all of my friends got this job. And I know some people be sighing like, oh, here we go again, it's a race thing, she's taken out the race card. But it's not a secret that sometimes people don't hire people if they know that they might be of a different race, and they just make that decision. And obviously my name, if you guys didn't know, my full name is not Scola. My full name is Scholastica. I'm not going to tell you the full name, but let's just keep it to Scholastica Dondo. But let me tell you, there are more names in my name that make me sound just super foreign. I sound about as foreign as you can get, and I kind of had an inkling that the reason I didn't get hired was for that reason. And also the lady who ran the catering company was a daughter of one of my teachers who really didn't like me. And again, it was a weird one because she liked everyone else in the class, and I was actually really good in that class. I always did my work, I did amazing work, but she just seemed to not like me. So I don't know if like that sort of prejudice sort of like just ran in the family. So yeah, I'm gonna put it out there. See, this is what I was talking about. As a black woman, you always feel scared to speak up about certain things, and I wouldn't usually say that all the time, but I want to just put it out there so you can just see how from a young age I already started seeing how difficult it would be for me in a working place, and how difficult it would be to get jobs and stuff like that, and how I would be judged even just by my name to start off with. Like, you know, if they heard me over the phone, if I had like a typically Western name, I might have gotten away with it and they would have just got shocked when I turned up. But yeah, pretty foreign name. I just want to drop that in there just to show you guys I did try to go for traditional jobs. I also handed out my CV in places and I just didn't hear back. But also it's down to just God's plan, you know. See, he had a different plan for me and I wasn't meant to be in traditional jobs, okay? Yes. So I started doing that and started making like freelance videos, and then shortly after that I actually started getting paid by Google AdSense, which is, you know, YouTube videos and stuff like that. My YouTube channel sort of semi took off and I started doing that quite regularly along with school and everything like that. So that was pretty great because I found my niche, which was health and fitness and weight loss and Afrobeat workouts, which I love. And that's when I started doing that kind of thing. So my channel was doing quite well, so I started making money from AdSense. So those things together sort of made me good money, which was really good. So yeah, that was the era of the part-time job. The next era is going to be ages 18 to 20. This is going to be the personal training era. So basically, if you guys don't know my story, I'll try to shorten it as much as I possibly can, but we've already seen that I ramble quite a bit and I'm very sorry for that. But I basically couldn't go to university because I'm an immigrant and I couldn't get student finance, and it was just due to a law that was kind of against children's rights, children's educational rights. I'm probably getting it wrong. It's been a few years since I've done research on it, but it was really a horrible time because, for example, my sister is about 4 years older than me, and she'd managed to go to uni, get student finance fine. They literally just changed the law just as she was like leaving and just as I was about to start, and so in that year they changed that law, and it just meant I couldn't get student finance. And my parents had never really put in savings because they were like, well, student finance exists. Like, most people in the UK don't typically save for university because it's a thing that's usually provided. So that's what happened to me when I was 18. I was heartbroken, I was sobbing because literally all my friends were going to be going to uni and I felt like I was going to be left behind. But it was funny because I was playing around with the idea of going into a gap year because I wasn't 100% sure on the course I wanted to do. Because originally I'd applied to do film studies at university, but again, it was another industry where I started having a feeling of what it was going to be like to be a black woman in the workforce. Like, my teachers just didn't appreciate my talents at all. They always underestimated me all the time when I was at college. So college is basically from ages like 16 to 18, it's like the last 2 years of high school. And yeah, college is just a bit more independent than like going to school or like a sixth form. So yeah, I didn't explain that well, but you get it. So my teachers just didn't nurture my skills at all, and it was just annoying and it was upsetting, and I just knew I couldn't be bothered with it. And I was just falling in love with health and fitness because my channel was doing really well, and also at school on the side I started a side hustle and started training as a personal trainer and getting my qualification for that. So luckily when I left school I could carry on my qualification to become a PT. So when I couldn't go to uni it wasn't like horrible, it still was. So this was a really tough time for me because my parents weren't the most supportive in this time. It was a really weird time because it was like I physically could not go to university, but they didn't really support any of the other things I wanted to do. And I do want to put it out there before anyone thinks that I had like a really easy time of it. My parents didn't support me most of the time. It is only in the last 2 years or year or so that my like parents are like, do you know what you're doing is all right, it's all right. So it's been quite a few years of trying to convince them that this is like a viable career option, sort of. So I decided I wanted to be a personal trainer because YouTube was making me good money, but it wasn't like sustainable. It was still something I loved to do on the side. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll go and qualify as a personal trainer because it would help with what I do on YouTube, but also means I'd be able to start personal training. So I had to save up the money to go out to London to do this course because it was like the closest one I could do. I really had to hustle around that time because my parents were having none of it and they were going through their own stuff as well. So I saved up all this money, I went out to London for 6 weeks, and for the first time on my own at 18, like living on my own and having to cook for myself, which isn't like so terrible, but it was like just quite a shock having to pay for everything out of my own pocket. I think like it's not like when you leave at 18 and you have student finance, like you're okay because you're sort of like low-key balling. But like, you know, a few months in you do get a little bit poor because you've like just blown all your student finance on like night outs and stuff like that. But anyway, I qualified as a personal trainer after 6 weeks, which was such a whirlwind. And then I went straight into working at a gym that I'd managed to get a job at. And I worked at this gym for about 6 months. I ended up leaving because this is when I realized how hard it was going to be a female in the fitness industry. So honestly, I'm not trying to be like, I'm not trying to play a victim like, oh, woe is me, it's so hard for me in every industry I try to go into. But it is, and I'm not going to pretend it's not, and I want to be very open about my experiences. And now that I've gotten older, instead of just looking at it like, oh, that was a bit weird, I can actually look deeper into what it is that caused that experience. And I know now being a female played a part in why I didn't enjoy working in a gym. And I guess I can summarize it into one thing. At the time I was working in that gym, my gym manager told me I needed to lose weight. This was around the time that my thyroid started playing up and I was really struggling with my thyroid and it was really tough and everything like that. And I wasn't as fit as I was before. But like, if I show you pictures of me from that time, you'll be like, what? Lose weight where? How? Why? Where? I was tiny and it was mental. But in all seriousness, he was like, yeah, you need to lose weight. And I was like, okay, and it was just a weird environment to work in. I ended up leaving after 6 months because I realized it wasn't for me, but all this time I was like self-employed freelancing, and so I started training people out and about because luckily, because of YouTube, I managed to train a lot of you guys that might be watching around London. And so I would train people in their homes or in parks, go running with people, that kind of thing. Or I was also doing online training, which I didn't enjoy as much, but I did online training as well, so selling programs online and like assisting people through that, but I wasn't as good at that. Honestly, it was not for me, and I did stop it after a while because I was like, I don't feel like I was providing a good service, so I did stop that. Okay, and then the next and sort of like the last era is ages 21 to 23, which is now. It was my birthday last week, so you know, 23 now. And basically this is the era of the YouTuber, because this has been the main way I have been making my income as a freelancer, self-employed type person. But I have also done other stuff as well. So when I left personal training and I went into YouTube, I wasn't making a crazy amount of money. Honestly, I wasn't at all, and I had to figure out how am I going to be able to, you know, supplement my income and make something extra on top of this. So I realized I also had another skill that I'd been neglecting, which is social media knowledge. And so I started working for a startup company, and I was their social media manager, and I loved that. Honestly, absolutely loved it. My boss was absolutely amazing. She was so good. So I was a social media manager as well as doing YouTube at the same time, and it just worked really well because it meant that I was making a steady income from freelancing as a social media manager with that company. So I wasn't employed, I was still self-employed, still freelancer. I only went to see her once a week, if that, but I worked from home most of the time. So it's really flexible and I could work it around everything like that. So that might be an idea for a lot of you guys who might not realize you have a lot of social media expertise. Start searching around and seeing if there are any jobs. Like startup companies like just need somebody to like post on their Instagram or post on their Twitter. It's not as simple, obviously, it takes quite a lot of work, but if you know your stuff, you can really make a difference to a company doing that. So definitely look into that. It's quite a good idea. I can't remember, it was either, yeah, I think I was definitely there for over a year working in that company. But basically my YouTube started taking off because I was in this really big YouTube campaign, and I was on like billboards, and I was in Piccadilly Circus and all of this crazy stuff. And I just noticed after that my sort of YouTube career sort of took off, and I started getting brand deals that were to a level that I could actually sustain it as a living-ish. I'll be very honest, my parents didn't support the whole YouTube thing until that billboard campaign, because they were like, crap, she's on a billboard, I think what she's doing is pretty cool, isn't it? One mistake that I have made by YouTube being my main form of income is I haven't diversified my income. I rely on one source far too much, and that is very scary. Like I said, sometimes you can go through a dry spell and nobody is emailing you about work or anything like that, and that is bad. And also from a enjoyment point of view, when this becomes too much of your job and you're too focused on that, it can really ruin it, and it's not as fun as it could be. So I really do want to diversify my income so this can feel more like a hobby again that is fun and exciting to me, and not like just a work thing, if that makes sense, which I don't think it ever could be, because I'll always love it no matter what, whether it's like my proper job or whatever, you know. So one tip I have gotten from loads of people is that you need to diversify your income, and this is where I've been majorly slacking. I have not diversified my income, not even a little bit, not as much as I really should have. So that has been my goal from now on, is to diversify my income and find completely different ways of making sure I can sustain a living and build myself up, basically. And so that is my goal going forward. I'd love to share how I'm going to be doing that. So if you guys want me to make more videos about my career, where I'm going, what I'm doing, do let me know. I have got an exciting announcement coming up, and I'm excited to share it, but it probably won't be for a little while because I just want to make sure I get into the swing of things before I share it. But anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay healthy, stay luscious, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!